students, today we are going to continue with the 11th question of level 1. Okay, so we have the question as follows. Lungs have a large number of narrow tubes called, right? 4 options have been given: alveoli, bronchioles, bronchi and alveolar ducts. Large number of narrow tubes it is asking. Alright, let us see each one of the option. When you talk about the alveoli, already we know that the alveoli are the tiny structures which are, already I have told you, in each lung you can find approximately around 300 million of it, and they are the basic structure and functional units of our respiratory system. They store the oxygen and supply through the blood to different body parts. Alright, and further, my dear students, let me also tell you, secondly we have bronchioles. What are bronchioles here? Bronchioles are the air passages which can be present inside the lungs. Alright, and these they branch. Alright, we have these bronchioles, various types of bronchioles. We have primary bronchioles. See, let us say, for example, let us say we have here, these are bronchi, alright, and these again get divided into bronchioles. Alright, these bronchioles are further divided into, in fact, see, primary bronchioles, secondary bronchioles. From that again we have again tertiary bronchioles. Alright, and from the tertiary bronchioles we also have the further connection as terminal bronchioles and respiratory bronchioles. They keep branching, my dear friends. Alright, this is bronchi which enters into the lungs, that the tubes. Alright, and further the branching which can be seen is what we call it to as the bronchioles, which are, as I said you, primary, secondary, tertiary, terminal and respiratory bronchioles, my dear friends. Okay, then we have alveolar ducts. Dear students, let me tell you, say for example, look at this simple diagram. Let us say, alright, say this is, let us consider terminal bronchiole. Alright, and this one has respiratory bronchiole. Alright, and then these respiratory bronchioles further lead or give rise to what we call it to as the alveolar ducts. Alveolar ducts will further give rise to what you call it to as the alveoli, the basic units, right, of our respiratory system. Then, dear students, the space which is present inside the alveoli is called as alveolar sac. Alright, so this is how. See, first what comes here? Terminal bronchiole followed by respiratory bronchiole, then alveolar ducts, then we have alveoli. The space inside the alveoli is called as alveolar sac. So what we need here? Alveolar ducts. They are the tiny ducts which are, in fact, which connect, alright, to the respiratory bronchioles. See, they are connecting the respiratory bronchiole to the alveoli, in fact. Alright, so this is about alveolar ducts, my dear friends. Alright, so now we know what is the alveoli, what is bronchiole, and also I have told you bronchi. They are the tubes that enter the lungs, alright, from the trachea. And further we have alveolar ducts. All this we have discussed. Now we need to note of these 4 options given, which are the large number of narrow tubes. If you look into it, definitely, as I said you, we have all these what you call, the branchings, we call the bronchioles. So we have to go for option number 2. That is your correct answer. Then, dear friends, we have the next question as follows. Which one respires through gills? Alright, say we know that there are various types of respiratory organs in various types of organisms. All right, it can be lungs. All right, it can be gills, or either it can be book lungs. All right, or trachea. Like this, various types of respiratory organs or structures are present in various types of organisms. Here, let us understand the question here. Out of the given four options, we need to identify which among these four will respire through the gills. Alright, students. First one, we have crocodile. Crocodile, we know that crocodile is a reptile, alright, and this respires through lungs, alright, the first thing. And then the second option we have here is whale. Whales are mammals, and obvious that they respire through, alright, lungs as well. Then let us move on to the third option. We have the third option as frog, alright, which is a amphibian. Dear students, here we need to know that during the tadpole stage, alright, they have gills. During the tadpole stage, developmental stage, after the frog undergoes metamorphosis, that is the developmental changes which takes place from the larval stages to make it into an adult stage. All right, that's what we call it as metamorphosis, right? So that is initial stage, that is the tadpole stage or the juvenile stage of the what we can say the frog, amphibian rather. So here, during which the respiration occurs through gills, but further I can definitely tell you that as they become adjusted to the environment, they also develop lungs, and later as they become adult, lungs will help in respiration. So primary organs becomes lungs. So we cannot even go for option 3. Alright. So next we have 4 option as prawn. Prawn is a crustacean, right? And definitely we know that the gills are the primary respiratory organs. In prawns, the gills are the primary respiratory organs, and they are nothing but the crustaceans, my friends. Alright. So the correct option you have to go for is option number 4, that is prawn. Moving on to the 13th question, we have oxygen carried by blood is liberated in. Dear students, see, we need to understand few important aspects here. See, let me tell you that the blood carries the oxygenated blood, alright, from where? From the heart, it carries the oxygenated blood and transport through the arteries, alright, to all the body parts. Alright, let us say before this, let me also tell you, when the arteries reach a particular organ or a particular tissue, they again further divide into smaller and smaller and smaller again vessels. Alright, and further which are called as, now further we can say that as capillaries, where the exchange of materials takes place, all right, including oxygen, right students. So now the question here given is, oxygen carried by blood is liberated or deposited in, all right, it is in the capillaries of the body. All right, so out of the 4 options, all right, see, option 1 given is arteries, which is not the option, all right, because the arteries again divide into many branches, all right, and the option 3 which is given is capillaries of lungs. No, because now we cannot say that oxygen is only liberated in lungs. No, all right, students. And then only heart, it is also not possible. And the only thing we can say here is that as the oxygenated blood moves from the heart to all the body tissues, it has to move, right? So as it reaches the organ, again it divides and later deposits in the capillaries, and from the capillaries it gets transported to all the required cells of our body, right? So the most appropriate and the correct option here is capillaries of the body. So please go for option 3. Dear students, next 14th question we have here is Adam's apple represents, all right, the 4 options have been given. arytenoid cartilage of larynx. Alright, what is the first option? See, first option given is here, arytenoid. Alright, cartilage. Alright, then we have cricoid cartilage. Alright, and then third option which is given here is thyroid cartilage of larynx they are given. First of all, let me tell you, all these are types of hyaline cartilages, which is important to note here, dear students. All these are types of what? Hyaline cartilages. Out of these three, we need to identify the Adam's apple. What is Adam's apple, my dear students? See, the Adam's apple is also called as what? Laryngeal prominence. See, we call Adam's apple also as laryngeal prominence. Alright, and we need to, among these four options, we need to identify in which of the cartilage of larynx it is associated. Alright, see, dear students, when we talk about this Adam's apple, let me tell you, it's a common feature which we can find in the human neck. Alright, especially it grows much during the puberty. Alright, and it is more prominent in case of boys than compared to the girls, or rather we can say much more bigger, very prominently it can be very clearly observed, seen in case of boys, that too especially during the puberty. And dear students, let me tell you that these Adam's apple, are getting my point, children? So is present in the thyroid cartilage of the larynx. It is present in the thyroid cartilage of the larynx. Alright, in the larynx region, in the voice box where it is present. No, this voice box is present approximately here, which is nothing but here we can find which type of cartilage? Thyroid cartilage. Just we can find. Alright, in this thyroid cartilage, in front of this there is the Adam's apple. Alright, so please go for option 3, that is thyroid cartilage of the larynx. Okay, dear students, next let us move on to the 15th question. Hemoglobin is. Alright, so we are well familiar with this. Alright, so the given options are vitamin, skin pigment, blood carrier, and respiratory pigment. Dear students, see, it's very clear that hemoglobin is a protein and it acts as a respiratory pigment. Alright, if you consider the RBC cells, especially let us say for example humans, if you consider the human RBCs, dear student, definitely I can tell you that it is enucleated. Alright, it does not have nucleus, that's why we use the term enucleated. And here we can find, alright, the very high deposition of hemoglobin. Alright, the protein. Alright, it's a protein which acts as a respiratory pigment, my dear students. Alright, and dear students, let me tell you why it is called as a in fact pigment, because it gives red color to the blood. Alright, and also my dear students, let me tell you that hemoglobin levels, it varies from one person to the other person. Rather, I can tell you that it is more usually, it is much higher in case of men, alright, than compared to women. Alright, so this is also an important aspect we need to know. Alright, it's a respiratory pigment. So you have to go for option 4, that is your right answer. Dear students, next let us move on to the question number 16. Right, so here, match the columns and find the correct combination. There are two columns. In the column 1, the organism has been given, and in the column 2, you can find the respiratory organ. Dear students, here, organism, first we have earthworm. What type of respiratory organ the earthworm possesses, we need to identify here. See, we already know that the earthworm respires through skin. Alright, if earthworm respires through skin, dear students, earthworm is an annelid, right? And it respires through skin. So the respiration through skin is referred to as what? Cutaneous respiration. This is one important aspect. Alright, and alright, this cutaneous respiration generally occurs through the process of diffusion. That we know. Alright, so earthworm we have to go for option 4, that is cutaneous respiration. Secondly, we have humans. Alright, see, humans, they respire through lungs. The respiration through lungs, we generally refer it to as what? Pulmonary respiration, isn't it? So this is nothing but respiration which occurs through lungs. Alright, so we respire through lungs, alright, which are the primary respiratory organs. Then we have to go for B1, that is pulmonary. Then let us go for third one. We have prawn, which is a crustacean. Already I have told you and we have discussed in the previous question that the prawns have the primary respiratory organs as gills. Alright, so we know that, but gills have been not mentioned in the column 2. Then what? The respiration which occurs through gills is referred to as branchial respiration. So in case of prawn, which is nothing but a crustacean, we can find branchial respiration, my dear friends. So which is nothing but, it is the respiration which occurs through gills. Alright, then let us move on to the fourth one. So for prawn you have to go for option 2. Alright, then insects is the last option. So we know that here tracheal insects have tracheal respiration. So the word itself gives us the very clear cut meaning that the respiration occurs through trachea. Alright, what are trachea here? Trachea are system of air-filled tubes, we can say rather. Alright, so without any hesitation, alright, so you can go for option 2, alright, which correctly matches with these answers. Next question, let us move on. That is 17th one. Metabolic rate will be highest in. 4 options have been given: elephant, rat, horse and human. Dear students, here first of all let me tell you what do we mean by metabolic rate. Alright, metabolic rate in simple terms, if I want to tell you that metabolic rate refers to the rate at which, alright, it is the rate at which there is breakdown of nutrients. And here the given question is what? In which of the 4 given organisms the metabolic rate would be highest? Now let me tell you, my dear students, metabolic rate would be most often, it will be very much high in case of small animals than compared to the bigger ones. Why is it so? Because when you talk about the smaller animals, they have large surface area when compared to their body volume. So what happens here, due to which in fact they tend to lose more body heat, alright, when compared to the big animals. Of course, you know, we are not comparing the large animal with the small one, because the large animals have much very high surface area when compared to small animals. That's apart. We are talking the surface area with respect to its body volume. When you talk about that, the smaller animals have more surface area, less volume, alright, body volume. So due to which what happens, they tend to lose the heat much faster when compared to the bigger ones, as I said you before. Alright, and to maintain homeostasis. What do we mean by homeostasis here? Dear students, to maintain the constant body temperature. Let us say, for example, our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So to maintain this body temperature, to have the homeostasis, all right, they need to have continuously the metabolic rate, high metabolic rate. Which of these following four we can go for? Let us understand. As I said, you smaller animals will have more faster metabolic rate. Out of the given four options, we have elephant, rat, horse and human. Out of these four, we know that rat is very much smaller. So rat will have the high metabolic rate than compared to the other three. So please go for option 2. That is your right answer. Next, let us move on to the question number 18, dear students. Okay. See, we have here, pick the correct statement. 4 statements have been given. Out of these 4 statements, only one statement holds true. Alright, we need to identify out of 4 the right one. Alright, so let us understand all the 4. The first statement we have here is contraction of internal intercostal muscles lifts up the ribs and sternum. Alright. See, let me tell you, dear students, one important aspect you need to understand here is that, the placement of internal intercostal muscles is such that it helps in forceful contraction and not, by lifting up the ribs and sternum. Alright. So, it's directly the forceful contraction. So, the option 1 is not the correct one. See, if we go for the second option, we have second statement, RBCs transport oxygen only. No, we cannot agree with this point. Yes, indeed, they transport oxygen, but along with the oxygen, they even transport other gases as well. Like they can transport carbon dioxide and also nitrogen oxide, alright? So, and many more, alright? So, definitely, second option is also not the correct one. Then the third option, my friends, we have thoracic cavity is anatomically an airtight chamber. Yes, definitely, my dear students, let me tell you that the thoracic cavity is packed from all the sides, from all the boundaries by structures which make it very much airtight. Alright. So, option 3 is the correct one. Alright, option 1 and option 2 are not the correct one. Option 3 is the correct one. Let us also understand what is option 4 here. Healthy man can inspire approximately 500 ml of air per minute. Dear students, let me tell you, per minute they are asking. See, fourth statement is some twist here. We need to identify. See, only they are saying 500 ml will be in fact inspired per minute they are saying, alright, which is very much wrong. Alright, now let me tell you, we have something called as respiratory cycles. Dear students, let me tell you, on an average we can say 16 to 18 respiratory cycles are present per minute. If you go by this, dear students, let me say now, alright, for just one respiratory cycle, that is one inhalation and one exhalation, for one inspiration and for one expiration, 500 ml of gas will be exchanged. How much? 500 ml, which is in fact, we call it as the tidal volume rather. Alright. So this is for one respiratory cycle. So you can just imagine for 16 to 18 respiratory cycles how much it can approximately be. Alright. Definitely. Alright, we can say approximately around, alright, we can say it around 5000 ml, alright. So here, this is very important to understand. So you can go for option 3, alright. Option 4 is also not the correct one. Then, next we have the 19th question. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide and oxygen in atmospheric air is respectively about. Dear students, already I have told you that partial pressure, alright, is an important factor which helps in the mechanism of respiration, alright. The differential partial pressure which we have alright, between the different, like for example, blood, the alveolar air, the atmospheric air, and the so on. Alright, this is very important for mechanism of respiration. Alright, but anyway, now we need to identify what will be the partial pressure of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the atmospheric air. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide is very low in case of atmospheric air. It is just 0.3 millimeter mercury. This is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in atmospheric air, my friends. The same when you talk about the partial pressure of oxygen in the atmospheric air, it is very high, my dear friends. It can be up to 158.8 approximately we say, but here among the given options we can say 159 will be the appropriate answer. Approximately 159 millimeter mercury will be the partial pressure of oxygen. We represent it with PO2 in atmospheric air. So we can rather go for option number 4, which is the right one. The last question we have here is approximate normal composition of alveolar air is. See, where the alveolar air is stored? Alveolar air is stored in the alveoli, my dear friends. Alright, it is stored in where? Alveoli. Alright, friends. See, this is the alveoli, which are the basic structure and function units of respiratory system. The oxygen is stored in the alveolar sacs. Alright. Alright, along with the oxygen, we can also find nitrogen as well. Alright, my dear friends. Along with the nitrogen, we can also find carbon dioxide. Alright, so especially these three gases are present inside the alveolar sacs. So what is their composition now? Let us understand. Here, out of these three gases, my dear friends, let me tell you, nitrogen composition will be very much high. Nitrogen composition will be up to 80% out of all the other gases. When we compare, we can just find nitrogen about 80%, which is very high, my dear friends. Alright. Then if we talk about oxygen, it would be around 14%, my friends. So 80 plus 14 is 94% over. And next we have carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide will be very less amount when compared to these two gases. So the remaining 6% will be the carbon dioxide. So this will be the composition of the different gases inside the alveoli. Alright, my friends. So among the given options, you can go for option 1. That is your right answer. That is 14% oxygen, 6% carbon dioxide and 80% nitrogen. Dear students, please follow up with the classes on regular basis. Be attentive while listening and solving, and be also regular in your submission of your homeworks. Alright. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Have a nice day.